Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode 251. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script. I am doing this in order to teach a part of screenwriting that I think is undertaught, which is the line-by-line, page-by-page, day-to-day process of writing. Not to talk about what a great script is or how to write a script that will succeed, just to say if you want to succeed, if you want to write something great, you have to actually get through the process of figuring out how to take thoughts and feelings and ideas, turn them into an outline, make that outline into a rough draft, and rewrite that rough draft until it is a readable first draft. That's what I'm showing you. I have been doing it hour by hour for a while now, and we are almost at the end. But the reason I am doing this is because that process is the thing that will get you through all the other questions. If you can learn to figure out what's good for you, and the process I am showing you is just the one that I figured out for me in a 25-year career writing for movies and TV. That does not mean it's going to work for you. It does not mean that it's the best process or the surefire process. It's just some tricks that I figured out because nobody was doing this kind of thing. There were no books on this. So I just had to figure it out for myself. This is what I figured out on my way out of the business. I am leaving it behind in case it is useful to you when you are facing the blank page. If your way is working, do your way. I am only leaving these tricks and techniques in case you get stuck, you get frustrated, you can't figure something out. Try the things I am showing you about how to think in scenes, how to work out an outline, how to go from the outline to a messy rough draft and then go back through it, spiral yourself around and again until you get it to where it reads pretty good, which it will. That's all. That is all this is. There's 251 hours of it now, and I beg you not to feel like 251 hours is required for you. You don't have to watch all these. You don't have to watch any of them, but I would suggest that if you want to know what I have to teach you, you go to my channel page, the first 3 playlists. I've got a picture of them here. One is called Screenwriting Essentials. The next one is Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft. And the third one is The Process, Being a Writer. This is where I have taken everything that I have learned in my career and my life and tried to boil it down to 10-minute lessons. These videos are pretty short. They are just 10 minutes or so where I try to make very, very practical suggestions or insights on a topic which is the great big title and thumbnail of that video. So you can say, I want to know what he thinks about flashbacks. There's something called flashbacks. If you want to know about dramatic action or dialogue or all those things, that's where I'm going to put it. So honestly, that's what I have to offer you. It is there 24/7 for you. Use it as you will. Hello, Nacho. Hello, Zubair. Hi, Di. Hello, Jonathan. Okay, we got people here. I am going to get into the work that I said, the process, because that's the name of the game. We are doing, I have been working on what I have called the pitch document. However, I'm going to put that aside for a bit and get back into the text because what I did was I went through the script with my red pen. Now and then, for me, it is helpful to actually print out the script because I see it differently than I do when I see it on the screen. And sometimes I just take it and I take a red pen and I make marks on it. This is only really good for the in the words text kind of rewriting. But I wanted to read through, make sure that it was readable. And that's what I'm going to do now is just work on polishing the language. So that is what this episode and probably one or two more are going to be about. I'm just going to go through it. Going to start here on the title page because there's some things I need to do. What I say is formally, here's the thing about title pages. Title pages there's a proper format for title pages. Now, I'm not going to do entirely the proper format because I like my title to be bigger than most people. Some people say it has to be regular size type. I like mine to be big. I even use different fancy fonts sometimes because we can, and why not? But, okay, so original title is the actual Writers Guild requested thing here. This is untitled. Oh, should not be. There we go. Okay. Written by Glenn Gers. Date. Okay, this stuff. Boom, 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 boom. For educational purposes only. I'm not sure exactly why I have this there. Usually what I would have down at the bottom of the title page. Here, let me show you a title page as it is officially seen. The title page would have your name and address here at the bottom in the lower left-hand corner. Your email address or a phone number, depending on what you want to give out. Remember, you are giving this out to the public, so think about it. Set yourself an email address that you feel safe giving out. Anyway, so that's that. Hi, Kurt. Good to see you. We are polishing. Okay, so, oh, wait a second. This should not be underlined. There we go. Boom. Okay. Okay, so let me just look at this. Okay, too much detail here. This is too long, and the fact that I wanted to show off that I knew the name of a punk band is not a good idea. So I'm cutting those words. Xeroxed is not necessary. Aged news clippings says what I needed to say. I'm just looking for those extra words where and this is really something that happens a lot. Writers will say, I can imagine everything about this movie in my head, this show. I can picture the light. I can picture the color. I know exactly what every object is. It's in my head. It's so clear. Too much. Too much. You want few words that focus on the things we need to know. For instance, aged news clippings. The point about this is that he is doing research on an old thing. That is what I'm trying to convey here. By saying aged Xeroxed news clippings, it doesn't really matter how he got those news clippings. The production designers will decide on this anyway. The truth is, probably he wouldn't have physical clippings at all. The truth is, he would probably have, screenshots or things copied from the internet. However, I wanted clippings physically around, so I wrote aged because it's old, and news clippings because he's doing research on a true thing. That's it. That's all you need to know. The Xerox stuff was over-describing. All right. What else have I got here? I'm looking at my page here. Let's see, it's like that. And if you look, you'll see that I have got, I don't think you can focus, but there you go. Okay. So I scribbled. I scribbled away, and now I'm just transferring those scribbles. I may find other things, but that's what I'm doing, and I wanted to do that so that you could see. Now, for instance, originally I had said to myself, don't capitalize this, but I've got the salad capitalized, and the thing is, the salad is important because he's about to be poisoned. So I'm going to make flaming hot chips capitalized too. Just like true crime paperbacks, because I want people to understand the thing he is researching is true crime stuff. So, makes sense. Likewise, this capitalizing thing, by the way, there is no official rule book for what you capitalize. People will tell you rules. They're made up. They are what that person happened to hear from some other person at some other time. But the truth is there are no rules for this. So I believe that you capitalize things to give a certain emphasis and rhythm, and mainly to sharpen the focus of the brain, the reader's mind, on certain information or feeling. So that's why I'm saying like true crime paperbacks, because I want them to get the focus on true crime. Salad and chips, because I want them to think, oh, food. Podcasting software, because up until now we haven't known that he's a podcaster. So, all right. Impulsively felt too... Did I scare you? Impulsively, what I wanted to say is he's stopping for a second to go off on a tangent. And impulsively was not the right word, so I changed it to thoughtfully. Okay. No one is listening to this podcast. Not necessary. Ding. Okay. All right. I have 14 subscribers and 10 of them are from the cold. This is a very wordy thing. And 10 of them are my friends. My friends. Shout out to all you crime crackers. That's better. See, the original phrase here was 10 of them are from the cold case web sleuth forums. Now, this is actually going to be information that shows up later, but it's explained later. So, my friends, because what I really want to say is he knows that only a handful of people, personal friends of his, are actually watching. Okay. But I did want to get shout out to all you crime crackers, because that tells us crime crackers, which is a mysterious phrase, which happens to be the title of this series. It's good to get that into people's brains. Okay. So that's all going to change. Just there is a rhythm thing, but in 5 weeks, that's all going to change. I thought, but in 5 weeks, that's going to change. I just like it better without the all. Okay. There we go. That's page 1. Okay, here I've got a description. He's dizzy, tingling, breathless. George shakes it off, pushing on. This is just saying the same thing too many times. So he's dizzy. He frowns. He's dizzy. George shakes it off, pushing on. Nice. Sometimes you just want to clean up the read. That is what we are doing here. I hope you find it interesting. I just moved my window. There we go. Okay. So George is slurring. Socioeconomic, which is funny. I like that. But then he does the same thing again here. So I'm going to cut this one and get to and move this. Oh no. Yeah. The poison itself, this signature. Ideally, let's see if I can do this. Ideally, this line, see how it says signature? Now, this is cheating, but I kind of wish that there's this big blank space here. So what I'm going to do is see if I can move. There we go. Look at that. But then this. There we go. I moved the paragraph formatting just a touch. It's too long, legally speaking, but no one is measuring it, and it reads better. Okay. This is too much information. He's frightened, aware there's something. Obviously, he's frightened. I've been describing all this thing. I just sometimes, yeah, just sometimes there's too much of something, too much of these little dashes. There we go. Too many dashes, and then that one's right. Let's make that. He just stopped, vanished. Okay, that's better. That's nicer. It's a better read. That is all I am doing today. Although I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any. But what I'm doing is just showing you the thinking that goes into the little changes, the polishing. This is polishing. It is the surface, the words. That is all I am focusing on now. Just trying to get the read to flow. Sometimes if you have too many words, you've over-described things, it's slow, it pushes the reader away. It makes the story. The main thing you were trying to do in your writing style is make this experience, this thing that's happening, feel real to the reader, to make them think, I am reading the narrative of a thing that's happening. That's the cool thing about present tense, which screenplays are in present tense. It's a very unusual thing. More usual now that screenplays have sort of fed into regular literature. But take advantage of the fact that screenplays are written, scripts are written in present tense. The reason, by the way, that they're in present tense is this. One, when the people in the audience see the finished product, the movie or show, it's going to be happening in present tense for them. They're going to be watching him do, not he did. He is staring. He stares at the coffee mug. It's not he stared at the coffee mug. So therefore, that's part of it, is you are describing an experience that will happen in the present tense for the audience, but also the people who are doing it. When the actor George has to do this, George stares. He will not stared. He's acting in the present, in the moment. So that's why scripts are written that way. But take advantage of that, because for the reader, it makes it happen at the moment. Like as you're reading, it's happening. So you want to try and not kind of forget they're reading a script and think they are watching a thing really happen. By fairly simple language that does not stop and over-describe, does not stop to describe camera stuff. Okay, so let's see. Okay, the rest of this page is okay. Is there anything I can cut here? I think knocking over his coffee is okay, but I don't think it needs to. Yeah, sometimes you don't want to overdo any trick you are playing. If you are using some device, intercutting, all caps, dashes, whatever it is, you just don't want to overdo it. Okay. Najo asked a question. If a writer asks you to join them, by the way, I apologize for my neighbor's gardener. What can I say? People garden. Okay, if a writer asks you to join them on a project that they have already started on their own, fledgling production company, and you see that the script is, but they are already in the... Yes, I'm waiting for the rest of this one. But it seems interesting. Okay. I don't think we need shabby. Revealing it is just George's garage, two-car garage. Do I even do just George's garage? Yeah, there we go. Look at that. That is a better sentence, okay? Revealing that it is just George's garage instead of revealing that it is George's shabby two-car garage. Just too much, Glenn. What's more, boom, look at that. We're going to make this all one thing because it is all one thing. I'm describing how the garage looks. It's all one topic. So therefore, I actually think it's best to... okay, back to Najo's question. Already in the process of hiring actors, PA production, how do you make suggestions on how to correct their script or say nothing and just do your best to assist as they're asking you to write, follow? Well, we need more. We need more of that following, because I was with you until the following. So finish that up and then we will talk about it, because I have thoughts already. Okay. Weed strewn. Okay, look at this. These are the sort of things you don't notice. Weed strewn and weed strewn. What happened here is I took two different descriptions, put them together, not notice it from two different places, to condense this down. And what I ended up with is a sentence that says the same damn adjective twice. So I'm just going to take all of this. Weed-strewn backyard tells us shabbiness. Run down clapboard house. Too many dashes. Stumbles into his out to his weed-strewn backyard, takes a few driveway. Yeah, do we even need along the driveway? Yeah, I think so. Okay, boom. We're moving this. Spam risk is calling. Okay. But sprawls. A few convulsive steps along the driveway trying to get to his rundown clapboard house. Clapboard. People know what that is? I think so. Okay, here we go, Najo. Write following episodes. By the way, the writer is 15 years old. Okay, nice input. Needs to grow. Okay, this is a complicated question. Let's think about this. Here's an interesting question. So let's go back to the beginning and read the whole thing. If a writer asks you to join them on a project that they have already started with their own fledgling production company, and you see that the script needs serious help, but they are already in the process of hiring actors, PA, production people, do you make suggestions on how to correct their script, or say nothing and just do your best to assist as they are asking you to write following episodes? By the way, the writer is 15 years old, nice young man, and doing great things, but script needs help. This is an interesting question. Hi, Nathan. I spoke with him today via Zoom, but judging by his manners, I don't believe he's open to changing much, just doing. Okay, we have got, there's so much to unpack here. Let's talk about Najo's situation. We got a couple things going here. The first thing I would say is when anyone asks you for your opinion, you should give them your opinion. But if they are asking you to work with them, then your opinion is secondary to the work. I can tell you this because I will tell you, after I directed Like, Share, Follow, my agent set me up with several meetings to direct other projects. And they were not things I had written. Previously, I had only directed things I had written. So I read these scripts, and they were terrible. They were awful. I mean, awful. And so I said, hey, I would love to direct this, actually, but it needs a serious rewrite. And luckily, I'm a writer, and I can tell you exactly how I would rewrite it. I will rewrite it for the cheapest possible. Like, I'm not in this for the writing money. I'm in this to get the script into a place where it can be well directed, which means a better rewrite. So I will rewrite this. And I went into great detail about all the big changes I would make because their script sucked. And I got no, not only did I not get either of these jobs, one of these movies actually went on to get made. I have not seen it. I don't know how much it was rewritten, but I don't think much. Anyway, but they stopped sending me out for directing gigs because I was impossible. There's no, why would someone who had gotten to the place where they were looking for a director expect someone to come in and tear their script down to the bone or less and rewrite it? That's just making them, destroying their progress. So the answer is you have to respect that it's not your project. It's his project. And therefore, if he wants to do it, then if he asks for your opinion, you can give it. If he doesn't ask for it, recognize that it may not be welcome, that you may not actually be helping because maybe he can't hear it. Maybe he doesn't want to hear it. Maybe he disagrees. It's his project. If he has figured out the financing or logistics to actually get people to make it, it's his. You can say, I don't want to work on this if I can't write it the way I want to. But if you are writing later episodes and you can write them the way you want, well, then you write yours, he writes his, everybody does their thing. Say, as you've said, you think he does not want to hear suggestions. You try once. If they don't want to hear it, they don't. If you don't feel like you can be associated with the thing that the first script sucks so much, just don't do it. Or tell him what you want to do when it gets time, when he's not working on his, when he says, here's, what would you write for the second episode? And if you tell him and he doesn't like it, then you're out of a job, and that's the way it is. If you really want that job, as the case was like with these directing things, where if I had someone like me to tell me things I wish I had, somebody should have said to me, if you want the directing job, which I did, learn how directors think, which is, I will direct the best I can this script. If this script sucks, I will direct it as well as I can, but it's going to suck, but I didn't write it. That's how directors think. Writers on shows think, I will write the best I can on somebody else's show. It's not my show. I just do the best I can in my job. Okay, writing in this sort of situation is a job. So that is my basic opinion. That the sorry, I just saw Larry's message. YouTube changed their layout again, so I got a little lost. I have to look into that. I did not know that. I don't look at YouTube much. I go in and I do my thing and then I leave. Anyway, I will take a look at that in a second. In the meantime, so Nadja, that's my answer. Is first of all, don't criticize someone who's in production. If they're in pre-production and you say, "Hey, can I talk to you about the script? This character." They're a big bossy bully here, and then they're crying and whining in this scene that doesn't seem like it's the same character. And if they say, I like it that way, or I think it works because of this, or whatever it is, give it up. It's theirs. If they are actually shooting, do not criticize the writing. They're shooting. It's too late. If you are talking about a script you are going to write, you tell them what you think you can do. You decide for yourself privately. You do not tell people, okay, I'm doing this, but I think it sucks. You say either I am doing it and I want to do it because it's useful for me, or, this person's asking me a favor and I don't think it's going to be good for me. So respectfully say no. Okay, good. Yay, I did something right. All right. Yes, do what you can with what you have. That is true. There's not a lot of things. Well, there are a lot of things, but there are specifically in my career, two of the things I regret most were those two directing interviews where I could have directed a movie and I screwed it up because I was so eager to help them with their sucky scripts, and these scripts were not good. And they had potential. There was good stuff there, and I overdid it. I got too creative, and I was like, oh, I could take it this whole other place that wasn't their plan. I deeply regret that. I would apologize, but I don't want to name names. Okay. All right. I'm briefly going to take a look at what did YouTube change, Larry? I'm looking at my YouTube here. I don't know. I guess I should look at the home. Anyway. Oh, okay. Thanks. Look at that. I'm live right now, according to my YouTube. It's me. That's freaky. This is what you guys see when you come on. All right. This is not helpful. Let me get back to my job here. Okay. That's so meta. I'm watching me live stream to you. Yeah. Got to stop that. Okay. All right. Hi, Blaine. Nice to see you. Yeah, do it to the extent that it is healthy for you to do it. Don't assist people to the extent that it is harming you. Okay, let's get back. So what I did was, okay, this is a lot of description, but on the other hand, it's a big moment. So, oh, interesting. Well, I hope you're all seeing that animation. George stumbles out to his weed-strewn backyard, takes a few convulsive steps along the driveway, trying to get to his rundown clapboard house, and sprawls face down in the dirt. He twitches because it just said George here. So if you overdo the George does this, George does that. Once again, whatever you're doing, make sure you don't just repeat unless there is a rhythmic reason to repeat. George does this, George does that. Change it up. We know who we're talking about. There's no other characters in this scene. George stumbles out to his thing. He twitches and dies helpless alone. Okay. Yeah, that is as I would get sucked into the screen. Yeah, thank you, Nathan. All right, on the laptop stream, the website, Crime Crackers. Yes, there we go. Just in case anyone didn't know why this is called Crime Crackers. All right. So Madeline, this introductory scene with Madeline is pretty cool. I'm a little iffy. You know, it's good. Okay. I'm just moving past. This is all fine. Oh, I thought I should move this. There we go. Okay, so could I say no? Why would you say no? I don't know. More meetings, right? More pressure. Less actually doing the thing. But director with the door. Can I get the money in the door without changing what I do all day? Then no, I'm good. I like the work. I like my team. I like my desk. Are you okay? Madeline looks like she might cry. Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you all right? Yeah, just felt better. Okay. Yeah, this is the polishingest. This is where it doesn't really matter. Like, okay, all right, not a big deal, but just the question is, do I really want? Are you all right? Yeah, that's better. See, it's better with. Sometimes you put in the dash because you're trying to get a kind of hesitance into a sentence, but the truth is, this is funny. Because are you all right? It's like what's funny is I'm talking about myself. You don't seem to. Are you all right? So yeah. Okay. Now this. I'm sorry. It's the police. I'm sorry. I have to. It's the police. Police. Yeah, that's right. See, what I was going to say is, I'm sorry. It's the police. I have to. But in fact, what she's saying is, I'm sorry. I have to take this, and then she interrupts herself with why she has to take it, because she's a little distracted, confused. Okay. That was long. Oh my God. I think what is it? Oh my God. When? How? How? This is better. This is better. Oh my God. When? No, no, I didn't even know where he. Yes, of course I can. I'm sorry, where is this exactly? I'll be there tomorrow. Yes, I'll be there tomorrow. All right, that's actable. That's actable. Okay. Okay. My husband is dead. He was murdered. I was. Oh, here's something I thought. I never say in this pilot, where this is a topic, how long they were married. The fact is they were married for a very short time, and that's very important to this particular moment where she says, I was, you're not, she says, wait a second, you're not married. Because she says, my husband is dead. My husband is dead. And I'm sorry. It's in, sort of revealing that she calls him her husband in that moment, because that's what they were saying. I'm sorry, you're not married. I was and this is the question, is how long? And the question is entirely, what does it sound like? Because I could say, I was for a year, 30 years ago, but that's years. So I was for 8 months. But what sounds with for 6 months, for 8 months? See, 8 is just, I was for 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. 30 years ago. That's better. Okay, so the marriage was brief. Even more fun. Okay, now, I think I'm going to make it detective. Just, sometimes you want to have the impact of a word, not the abbreviation. Okay, and this is not continuous. The next morning. The next day. Okay. Hi, Mookie MC. It's strange, but when in polish mode, I need no distractions in a dark room. It helps me concentrate on dialogue to maintain the voice of the characters. Yeah, I totally get that. Actually, polish mode, when I was reading it, I wasn't in a dark room, but I was in a quiet, leave me alone kind of place when I was reading the draft and making these notes. But generally, yeah, I would say that there's two phases for me. One is just read it as a reader, see if what's snagging you as a reader, get out of the writer mind and into the reader mind. I need to actually read like I would read then. But after that, oh, and hello everyone. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mookie, I know what you mean. Everybody's different. That is the crazy thing about life. Okay, chunky was bothering me here. Stocky. And then in uniform. Is he in uniform? Some detectives. Well, also, honestly, are there detectives in this police force? This is a small town. I kind of want him to be in uniform because we need to say police officer, cop. That's who this is. So I think I'm going to leave him in uniform. Some detectives must stay in uniform. listening to. All right, so this is good. This is good. But now, weed strewn again. Okay, that's better. But then now just the page before or so, I had her say, are you all right? So, you doing okay there? Okay, that's kind of insulting, which is good. I want him to have a kind of asshole attitude here. he's being a pain. He's being disrespectful to the victim because he's pissed he's being disrespectful to the victim's ex-survivor because he's pissed at the victim. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping. Thank you, Mookie. Okay, you doing okay? You doing okay there? You're Morrison, the ex. Uncertainly. I'm Elms. Elms. Okay. Struggling to see him in the dim garage. Walk uncertainly into the garage. That is just a little repetitive. Elm stays where he is, holding up his badge. Waiting for her. I don't love ending on in. It's an interesting experience to watch these daily live streams and occasionally watch them from a year ago when you were gone. Yes, I actually, I kind of take a pride in the fact that I have done this for 251 hours, and therefore you can do that. You can look and see how I created this scene, and then see me tinkering with it. Walk uncertainly in. This is an awkward, kind of interesting phrase. Holding up his badge, waits for her to walk uncertainly in. Well, he wouldn't hold up his badge because his badge would be on his uniform. Yeah, I don't know, and I do not want to encourage anyone to spend 250 hours listening to me. Boom. Look at that. Waits for her to walk uncertainly in. Elms. I'm sorry, the paperwork in his desk didn't give us anything, so you were it. That's not bad. sometimes you over describe. Sad. I'm not sure she's sad at that moment. Right? No, unfortunately, this has come up before. One of the reasons I wrote this was because I have no intention whatsoever of trying to sell it. So that allowed me to be, if I was actually trying to sell this, I wouldn't have written this, because this is a little safe for what I believe is the best choice for something to try and sell. My personal take at the moment in my life is, if you're going to try and sell something, because there is so much out there, you need to do something that's uniquely you, even if it is not what is selling. And so therefore, and that is a risk you take. But the thing about this is, it doesn't feel to me like it's got enough oomph for any particular. It's sort of right down the middle, which is why I wanted to write it, because I knew safely how to write it. And writing with a camera in front of your face, it's probably better to write something that's relatively easy for you to write, so that you can multitask. If I was writing something that was really challenging, I wouldn't do it an hour a day. I would do it 4 or 5 hours a day. I would really work on it. And B, I would be a lot more in my head, because I would be trying to actually solve certain problems that right now I'm like, this is fine. So, okay. Hi, Victoria. How much research is needed for a script? I want to make the story believable. I'm not a secret agent, so how do I write for these roles? Okay, this is a good question, and the answer is, the answer on research, how much research to do, is not much, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, if you are doing something which is very, very fact-based, for instance, if you are doing an astronaut thing and you are going to, like, First Man, the Damien Chazelle movie with Ryan Gosling about the first man to step on the moon, Buzz Aldrin, right? Buzz Aldrin? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure they did a lot of research on exactly what the processes were and exactly what the experience was, because they were capturing a real thing. If you are writing a secret agent or astronaut story, the odds are you are not writing reality. You are going to probably write something about a unique astronaut who has some remarkable adventures, or a secret agent who is not actually doing what secret agents really do, which is mostly just hang around with people and talk to them and take pictures of shit. So the reality is, you are already leaving behind reality. And so a lot of the research should be, how has this been portrayed in other current contemporary popular works, or how has it been portrayed in works that I adore and wish to be in the vein of? Because there's many different kinds of astronaut stories. Alien and 2001 are extremely different space stories. They're very different visions of space, although they are related. But they're certainly different than First Man, or so many others. So my point is, you actually want to research is going to be secondary to characters and story and style, vision of the world. So the type of astronaut you want to do is more important than the actual how is the astronaut, because the odds are that you are not doing it. If you are doing something about what it's like to work in a department store, and you can do a little work on what it's like to actually work in a department store, sure. But, and as someone who has sometimes researched what it's like to be a homicide detective, I have to assure you, the people who you are going to have to sell this to and work with on a daily basis are going to destroy all that real stuff for their own needs. In other words, you might say, when you work in a department store, you need to clock in, you need to fill out this form, you need to do these steps, and they're going to just skip all that. They're going to say, okay, let's get to the story. And then they're going to want it to be pretty or glamorous or whatever it is that they want it to be. And therefore, if you over depend on reality, in a thing where that's not the point of the story. If the story is, this is a true story and I want you to know how many feet it was from the road to the creek, cool. You have that argument. You'll still lose because when they shoot the road to the creek, they're going to go to some other state where the tax advantages are better. They're going to pick whatever creek they can find that looks nice and has good truck parking. And then they're going to say, okay, that's the creek. And it will look nothing like the real creek. So that's the truth of research for screenwriting. So my answer is research as much as it helps you to write, but don't research so much that you're not writing. I personally would research as I write. Get going on the story. Get going on the writing. You can always add your research. You can always tinker with it. Like I could always go back and re-describe the police detective if my Mookie research worked out. So that's sort of what I'm going to say is that my basic take on, I'm working on a video about research, which I'll say this, but the basic point, the point of research is researching the story and the characters. So it might help if you want to do research on what it's like to be an astronaut because you want to have the character feel real in your mind. But do remember, for instance, the reality of being an astronaut may not be the romanticized version that your story requires. And the need to stop and say, you know, they have to go to the bathroom in their suit is not going to necessarily fit with your story. The needs of the characters in the story are going to come first. I hope that is helpful. So the answer is you are doing some research. Also, sometimes it inspires you. You say, oh my God, I had no idea how much math is it required for being an astronaut, because this is a fair amount. And so that's something you might want to fold in there. I don't say don't do it. I just say remember the purpose of it is not to properly convey facts. Movies and TV shows are the worst form for conveying actual facts. Terrible. There's so many things that will get in the way. Like I said, truck parking. Whatever you think you are doing, remember that it's going to depend on how and when they can park a lot of trucks, because that's what's going to determine where they can shoot. Less than a year is too vague, actually, Blaine, because the truth is being vague at a moment like that would be... it's like she would have to think I want to be vague. But the truth is she would know the specifics. And for me, for her to say specifically, it seems more authentic to that moment for that character, to me. Different people would think differently. And yeah, also years. Yeah, year. For less than a year. Okay. Anyway. I think television and movies use a little more safe content. Yeah, actually, there are some places that are working on that. Interestingly, Ryan Johnson and Natasha Lyonne, he's the creator of Looper and Knives Out, and she's the creator of Russian Doll. They are working together on a series for Peacock, apparently, which I don't currently watch much of, but they're doing like a Columbo type detective show. Neil Armstrong. Thank you, Mookie. Shoot, I'm late. Will there be a VOD? VOD of this project? There will be no production of this script. There will be video on demand of this live stream. Absolutely. Every single live stream, the minute I am done, it immediately goes to VOD YouTube, and about 10 minutes later, the thumbnail and description get put in. Oh, look, we are actually pretty late into the day. Let me see where I am on this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to finish this. Takes Elms in is too vague. This is an example of that thing where they say, do not describe what's going on in someone's mind. You often have to. because the truth is, I want Madeline to take a second to make a decision about how Elms is behaving. But I do not want her to say anything or do anything about that. So I'm going to have to say, Elms's brusque, insensitive manner. She gets brusque, brusque is too plain insensitive. She gets plain back. There we go. Nice. She gets plain right back. She gets plain back. Blunt. Blunt. That's the word. Blunt. Okay. And with that, thank you, Nathan. With that, we're going to take a second here to talk to Victoria to say, how important is script coverage? Important in your career. I hate talking about career and business stuff. The answer is script coverage. Actually, this is interesting. This is actually an interesting thing because script coverage has changed its meaning since I was working more. So I want to talk about that in a second. Let me quickly get to these things because they're about the other thing. Show, don't tell is sometimes not the best solution. Like everything, it depends on the situation. Exactly. This is something I actually did want to talk about. In this moment, what I am doing is I am talking about something the character is doing, and they're doing it. She's taking a moment to decide. So she is actually making a decision about a thing. This is happening in her head. The actor needs to play that thing. So I have to describe a thing that's happening in her head so the actor knows what I'm talking about and why the character is behaving that way. And then they will play that. So I am actually describing something that they are doing. It's just that they're doing it in their head. So the thing is, very often in screenwriting, you don't need to do that because it's obvious from the way they are behaving. Or from what they say. But when you do need to do it, then it is okay to do that. We should have all day or night. Yes. Okay. So, live streams are all here on the channel. You go to the channel and you'll find everything there. Okay, now let me get back to, on my way out, Victoria's question, script coverage. Here's the deal. Script coverage used to mean when if your agent submitted a script to a company, which is usually affiliated with a studio, these companies get a lot of scripts every day. So they have a log in which they register, we received this script today, and there is a log line, a one-line description of that log. Then the people who get the script usually are not the top decision makers. The top decision makers do not want to read 50 scripts a day. So there are lower level executives who would read the script and cover it, write a short summary of the plot and their opinion of it, which is there's usually a format. Do I think it's well written? Do I think it's commercially viable? Do I think it's producible for our company, et cetera, et cetera? Those things are what formed coverage. And so coverage in the movie business up until very recently meant an internal document from a production company or studio or network for them to be able to give their higher up a written summary of the script so that person didn't have to read the script unless it was really good. If the coverage was, oh my God, this is the greatest thing you've ever read, then they will take those 2 or 3 oh my God coverages and read those scripts. by the time it goes up through 3 or 4 layers of bosses. There's somebody down at the bottom who reads coverage. They have to read 50 scripts a day, or 50 scripts a week. Anyway, the point is that back-breaking amounts of reading for the people doing coverage. With each step up the ladder, that coverage gets weeded out until eventually the question is, does this person at the top who actually has to make the decision get to or want to read it? That's what coverage was. Now, there has become this new thing where external companies having nothing to do with that will read your script and write a report on it for you to know what they think the companies would think. But let's be real about what that is, which is that is a bunch of people not in the company and possibly not even really in the business telling you what they think another person will think. That's not the same as getting the actual coverage. So when you get script coverage, what you're getting is a newly invented layer of false experts. Now, it will entirely depend on the quality of the particular person reading that script, whether that coverage is A, accurate to what the industry is thinking, and B, good at all. You could be getting an idiot. Also, by the way, this is really important. In the system, in the industry, when you're getting industry coverage, you very frequently had idiots reading it. You very frequently got bad coverage. You very frequently got somebody, if the company's getting a lot of stuff in, they would sometimes have junior entry-level people reading it, and they often did not know what they were doing. And then you also just get the fact that this is all a matter of opinion. So therefore, people are going to cover it based on I think that all movies should be like James Bond. And then another person will be like, I think all movies should be like, I don't Patterson, the Jim Jarmusch movie, little tiny indie film. The point is, those people have been told by the company, this is what we are looking for. And they, to the best of their knowledge and ability, will do that. But the answer is script coverage important? The answer is, I do not know the importance of coverage. I just do want to tell you that the people doing that script coverage for independent companies who you pay to cover it are not the people who are actually working in the business. They are working in a newly invented level of the business. That business, that's a side business. And I do not have any great confidence, considering that coverage itself in the business was crappy. It was often bad. So therefore, the idea that outside, who don't know what the companies are saying they want, okay, that's the thing. Coverage depends. It's not an absolute judgment on the quality of the script. Absolute judgment of the quality of the script does not exist because there is no such thing as good and bad. There's just opinions. Okay? The question is, will this advance in the business? And the only way you can know that is to know what the requirements of the company at that moment are. For instance, if you write a romantic comedy and they have decided we're not doing romantic comedy, it doesn't matter how good your romantic comedy is, it will get put into the no category just because of that. Although, honestly, they probably wouldn't have gotten submitted at all because your agent would know that. Anyway, okay. I give unsolicited coverage of YouTube channels. I give it a thank you. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you, Mookie. I take that. I take that. So listen, that's the story on coverage. It is if you can afford it and you want to get somebody's take on it who may or may not be useful, sure, do it. to me, it seems that's about as valuable as doing something like the Blacklist, where other writers give their opinions. Once again, it's just going to be opinions, but at least you're getting a lot of them, and at least they're from other writers. And I don't know. To me, it seems more valuable. That's my take on that. I need to go. I will see you all tomorrow. Go write something.